Am I wrong? That's what families want to ask. Hello, welcome to another episode of Low Tech Health. Let ourselves translate expert knowledge. And today, it's Let's Talk Tickers on Taco Tuesdays. And I'll tell you, I'm having a fantastic week. We're wrapping up, coming up on night 5 of 6. Can't believe we're almost finished. It's amazing. We're in week 8 of 13 in our assignment. Our first ever assignment, traveling in the West. And it's wonderful. It's just, it's so exciting. Everyone is being so nice to us. And it's more than I've ever really considered and be paid. It's great. And not necessarily that I think that I'd accrue that worth, but the idea that they have it. The hospitals have that money. They do. And they can pay you. It's a trick. Don't listen when they tell you that they can't. In that little room, they take you and they tell you, listen, this is your offer, and if you say no, you have to go. It's a trick. So with all joking aside, in today's episode of Let's Talk Tickers on Taco Tuesdays, we'll continue makeup. People want to make up for doing the wrong thing. They don't want to be wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong, especially on a permanent decision, which we kind of have an arrogance when it comes to us in the hospital now that it's our decision to make. The decision was already made in many different ways when somebody comes to the hospital to have made your last breath or to have, passed from your long-term diseases you've been working towards. Whether you're overeating and underbreathing or underdrinking water and overdrinking alcohol. There's just a simplicity to the breakdown of the cells that is going to happen. And it's not magic in the hospital. We'll pump oxygen into you, the breath of life, and keep you from making that last breath as you try. You try to make that last breath, and we don't allow it. There's a new patient, besides the one that's been flaccid and hasn't had, with his ancestors honored, he's still living in his fleshy sack. It occurred to me how families will say, the heart, they'll want you to know how good a person, the one they're keeping on life support terminally, who's not going to be able to ever come off of it. They want to tell you how good a person they are, and that's true, very well, and I understand. That is, they all say things like they'll give you the shirt off their back, like the personality, the who they were when they made actions and acted and interacted with people before they were devolved from human to vegetable. And which is true, more than likely on most of these people, bad things happen to good people. They'd give the bed up. They'd give the hospital bed up to somebody who needed it. Who knows? I mean, some hospitals in the country are overfilling. There was one in Salt Lake City that filled to capacity in ICU this past week, or this week. It's hard to keep up. I think it was last week. I think it was over the weekend. Major hospital filled up with ICU beds. No more beds. So, life support unnecessarily with a diagnosis of what should be medical futility is a talk that we all need to have before the worst case scenario. And on a deeper and more fundamental level, we need a way that doesn't tie the hands of paramedics and people who supply emergency medicine, because they have to activate emergency services once they see someone down. There's no checking for a pulsed, not a pulse, but a pulsed, which is a plan of orders for life-sustaining treatment. Let's see. what does that stand for exactly? But it's basically an advanced directive that tells you what you like if you are unable for some reason to speak for yourself, like life support wise. Pulsed, portable medical orders for seriously ill or for physician orders for life-sustaining treatment. So it's a form that must have a physician's signature, not like the guy in Florida who had tattooed "Do Not Resuscitate" on his chest, but force you to die in a hospital, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but I believe in patient-centered care. I believe that we owe everyone a duty. We owe them in the order of patient, family, nurses around us, and physicians, staff, ancillary, and in the hospital. And sometimes family and nurses do kind of differ. But it's usually because of, number one, the patient not being honored, or some form of like an anti-advocation, which, again, you ask, am I making the right decision? I think yes, because you need to allow a last breath when they want to take their last breath. That doesn't mean don't intervene with heart attacks, strokes, anything that seems like a debilitating disease. It doesn't mean do not act. But passing in your sleep, I don't know, seems like music. Does that make me a crazy person? I don't know. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Wasabi Walnut, What's Hurting My Tummy Wednesday. Thank you for listening on Let's Talk Tacos on Taco Tuesdays.